Greetings and welcome to Techno Intelligence Talk, the webinar series where we will help you to become leaders that will take their organization into the future to overcome tech phobia. So I'm Chris Lambert, and I'm going to be your expert who's going to lead you through my framework, Be the Change, to help you to make this possible. So a little bit of my definition of technology is that it's an amalgamation of knowledge put into a format that benefits society's innovation, progression, and betterment. So my thoughts on technology is I see it as a change agent. I see it as being revolutionary to help us to secure a brighter future. Professional, I use it in my communications, my marketing, my processing, my reporting and analysis. So technology is very much a very important part of my day professionally. And then personally, I look at it through how I use it in my communications, my education as a doctoral student, entertainment for reserving, getting my tickets and seats secured at a movie theater through an app, as an organizational tool to keep myself organized, to know when I need to be at certain places, to schedule meetings, so a whole multitude of areas that it touches within my personal and professional life. My attitude towards technology, as you can tell, I find it essential. It's revolutionary for societal progression. Technology it's always existed. It's just up to us to make sure that we evolve with it to meet the needs that it is evolving to help us to go into the future. And I always characterize all my devices that I use within technology by the specific purpose and context. So, whether I'm using it in a productive way at work for analysis and processing of reports, sending out communications, text messages, or educationally using various software such as Grammarly to make sure that my documents are grammatically correct and written in the most effective way possible. So technology is used all over the place. And so my goal today, by giving you this foundation of my view on technology, is to get you excited and ready for the challenge. Nothing worth having in life ever comes easy, and we must get society on board with technology in order for its betterment. Technology, it opens doors to the future, and for an organization to uphold its mission and to help to create a better tomorrow, we have to embrace technology and get others on board. So I designed this schema, if you will, this framework that's essential for leaders to facilitate collaboration, to affect organizational change, to be at the forefront of the change and to be innovative. So using my Be the Change framework, every leader has to develop a professional manifesto for approaching technology in a professional, personally and professionally, to lead into the future. And so we want to introduce anything. When we are introducing anything new, there's always going to be resistance. It's how you approach this that will determine your success or your failure. So today we will set you up for success as a leader, and I will show you how. Let's go. So let's dive into the framework. So the first part of this framework, as you can see, I've got it listed, and it's in a progressive step of where you should start at all the way to where you should finish. So looking at the first one, which is this assessment stage, as I call becoming a change agent, developing that mindset. So determining your organization at the organization level as well as the employee, where's the readiness for change? What is the organizational culture? Are they innovative? Are they regimented? Are they cautious? How does the organization feel about change? What's the organization's history with change? What is the organization's history with technology? So these are all questions that you have to think about. And whether it's a yes or a no, the same process is going to happen. It's going to be an uphill battle, just different levels of resistance depending on how you answered these questions. But this framework, this starting point is going to help you to get where you need to be. The other thing you have to consider are those ethical, moral, and legal implications. You have to look at the privacy, the transparency, the fairness, the job security, the workplace safety, the accessibility, the legal compliance, the employee rights. These are all extremely important things to consider. And the key is to carefully weigh out the benefits of the technology changes against the potential downsides and take steps to avoid unethical outcomes. A thoughtful, principled approach builds trust. So this is a very important step that you have to really consider after you've cultivated and done an assessment of where are we. Now you have to consider these things. Then you're in a stage of where it's time to disrupt, disabuse them, everyone of all of their preconceived notions and perceptions to establish new perceptions. In order to build something new, you got to break things down. And you want to do this in a very welcoming way, taking consideration as that first step of where everyone is as to how you'll be disruptive. But you have to do that with braveness and just fortitude. Next is to cultivate the change mindset. This is where you're going to create trust and buy-in at all levels. Show the value of technology, how it leads to greater efficacy and efficiency in work. Talk about how it's going to help with job security and being more competitive. These are going to be skill sets going to help you do your job better and opportunity for professional development. There is that consideration of job loss, but considering and mitigating the displacement of workers due to this automation and new technology, depending on how it works in your organization, and definitely providing the support, training, and new opportunities will help offset the culture of how this new technology is coming in. And then looking at the customers that you're serving, as well as your internal clients, as well as your own organization employees, looking at those who are resistant to technology, seeing how you can bring them to the future. Those who are adept, to see how the technology is relevant and how it can help us to be more competitive, and utilize those individuals to help build the resistors to becoming more on board. And then the curious ones, just giving them the confidence to give it a try. We'd like to talk about Guste's 7 traps of path dependency and the way of creating culture of innovation. Those are very important things to look into, and I'll give you just a brief overview of them for changing mindset. When it comes to the 7 traps, this is looking at all those things that produce roadblocks, that thinking of this is how we've always done it. That's that linear thinking, and how you need to overcome that, and getting the discomfort versus breakthrough, getting people comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then with the culture of innovation, at the heart of it is urgency, creating that urgency, seeing the need, getting everyone on board. Because when you create something as being needed and a necessity, you can get everyone on board. So rewrite that narrative, as I alluded to. You want to get rid of that language when you're wanting to get people to get out of their comfort zone. Get rid of this is how we've always done things. If it's not broke, why fix it? Get them to adopt that mentality. You've made it to this part, so now you should be very primed and ready to get the narrative changed. You've got people on board. You're getting people at ease. And then the most important thing of helping to get that narrative changed is talking about education and training. Foster greater confidence in technology and prevents backsliding. It also brings people on board who are thinking, my fear is I may not be able to know how to use it. I may not be adept at using it. I may not know how to implement it, and I might get fired. It's trusting them that we're in it together. I want to lead into the future with technology. In order for me to lead, I have to train and educate you, and that's going to build greater confidence and make people move forward. Implementation, you got to ease the organization into the technology by constantly doing check-ins, meetings, open forums, and professional developments to make sure that as you're doing these technology changes, that everyone is on board and that everyone is feeling comfortable, and that you're doing these check-ins to make sure everyone is meeting benchmarks and goals that you'll set. Then we have to talk about the evaluation of impact. This is very important. This is where you do surveys, where you look and see where the employees, the leadership, the stakeholders, their perceptions of the technology to gauge future strategic plans to keep the organization on track with leading into the future with technology. Performance evaluations. Look at how your employees, bring it to their attention of this is where you were and this is where you are now, and how the technology is really helping them. Or if they're having, a little bit of unease with adapting to the technology, saying this is an opportunity for us to help you to get where you need to be. So make these positive. Performance reports. This is where you look at the outcomes and the historical data to measure how were we in the past and how we improved now going into the future. So that impact evaluation is always the final way of looking at how has this framework brought us into being able to lead to the future with technology. So after today, you should feel ready to lead to the future with technology, to be a change agent, to be disruptive, to be ready for impact. So I say, let's go. Let's lead to the future with technology. Utilize this, be the change framework, and you'll set yourself up for great success into the future. Here are my references that you can look into. Gustesh is a great one to look into. His handbook will give you some more in-depth background into certain things that I've talked about today. A very strong foundation for this framework. And then here is a nice graphic that summarizes, and I can provide this to you as well, that tells you all about the Be the Change framework leading to the technology into the future, all in one place for you to look at hand. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar.